Welcome back. Now, the tenure of the governor of Edo State will expire on 11 November 2024, as provided in Section 178, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Elections into the office should hold not earlier than 150 days or not later than 30 days. In view of this, we shall be taking a look at the topic today: Edo 2024 Guber election, a review of primaries, and of course, election preparedness. To help us discuss these issues today is our guest, who is a political analyst. He is Sam Olorunfemi. It's so nice to have you in the studio with us today.
Good morning, Sam Olorunfemi. Good morning.
Olorunfemi, thank you for the correction.
The players, my Ezekiel, it's good to be here again.
I think to you he's Sam Olorunfemi, but to me he's more like a political prophet at this point.
So I was told.
On that table, you tend to actually made candid prophets when it comes to Kogi State elections.
Exactly.
Yeah, most of which came to pass. Actually.
Even the presidential election.
Yeah, you did. Except for that of Imo State, you never really predicted, a governor, sweeping the entire local government, all to himself, as if there was not an opposition. So for that, I think I wouldn't give you kudos to that one. On the basis of Edo State, now, what's your perspective as to these elections generally?
Well, thank you once again for having me. Edo State is one of the 6 states that we have in the southern region of the country, in the southern region. And when you look at Edo State, also part of the 8 states that we do have off-season election in Nigeria. And when you look at from 1999, 2003, 2007, it was in 2007 that Edo State joined some states that we do have off-season election. When that election took place between the immediate, or let me say, the former governor of the state, now the sitting senator representing Edo North, Comrade Adam Oshiomhole, and Professor Osubo of PDP. At the end of the day, INEC declared Osubo of PDP as the winner of 2007 governorship election. Oshiomhole went to court, and at the end of the day, the appeal court in Binitie pronounced Oshiomhole as the winner of that particular election, although 2 years after that particular election. That was why Edo now is part of the state that we have off-season election. And when you look at Edo and Ondo, we almost share the same thing. Edo is having 18 local government, Ondo is having 18 local government. Edo is having 3 senatorial districts, Edo North, Edo South, Edo Central. The same thing, Ondo North, Ondo South, and Ondo Central. Now, the election will be coming up later this year in Edo State, has been declared by INEC. Now, the intrigues that played out and they just concluded Edo primaries election. Even Labour Party, don't forget, even Labour Party now is also having EU as part of this aftermath of the governorship election. Even though with what we hear, Olumide Akpata, that is the former NBA chairman, president was declared winner of that particular election. Later we got to know that there was a parallel primaries within the Labour Party in Edo State, thinking that Labour Party will come and change the narratives in Edo State. So it's not what played out in Edo State, just concluded primaries. They are not new in our political system in Nigeria, starting from 1999 down to where we are today. In fact, let me cast some memory back. The election that took place in Ondo in 2016, the same thing happened, particularly within the PDP, when Jima Ibrahim of PDP and Ita Ojegede, both of them had parallel primaries. In fact, Jima Fashion had their own in Ibadan, Itayo had their own in Ondo State. In fact, it was just 2 days to that particular election when Ita Ojegede's Fashion now got the judgment from court that they should be the one that INEC should declare winner of that particular election. So it's not new what to play now in Edo State. And when you look at Nigerian politics, all these are not new. But guess what, Ezekiel? Don't forget that in the just concluded general election, Supreme Court told us that all EU of pre-election matters, you don't bring them to Supreme Court again, because in fact he almost cost the sitting governor of Adamawa State, Plateau State, his seat, Muftuang. The case challenge against Muftuang was the EU of pre-election matter, the primary that brought in Muftuang to become the PDP candidate in the 2023 governorship election, even though the State House of Assembly members declared by INEC under PDP did not have their way, because at the appeal court told them that the pre-election matter, they did not win the election. So what is playing out in Edo State is not new, but what we are saying is that at this particular century, that number of years we spent in our democratic system of government, we ought to have put all this behind us, especially when we are having a primary election. What is happening in a primary election in Nigeria in such a way that we're having the parallel primaries, and electoral act is very clear, unambiguous on this particular matter, that when you are having a primary of your political party, the primary witnessed by INEC will be the one that INEC recognize in submitting the names of the candidate. But particularly, let's just narrow it down to what we saw, a PDP and Labour Party, between the deputy governor and the governor. The issue have been coming between the deputy governor and the governor. I'm talking about Philip Shuaibu and Governor Obaseki. And when you look at the genesis, this crisis between Shuaibu and Obaseki happens to be the year of zoning. When you look at Edo State, since 1999, Edo Central has never produced a sitting governor in Edo State since 1999. Edo Central. Now, when this issue happened, Obaseki told Philip Shuaibu, I'm talking about one led to parallel primary that witnessed in PDP now. Obaseki tried to tell Shuaibu that, come, it is high time we produce the next governor from Edo Central. Philip Shuaibu is from Edo North. Obaseki is from Edo South. Now, Philip Shuaibu, under the law, when you look at section 176 or 177 of the Constitution, it talks about all those things that you need to meet when you want to become a governor of the state. Section 176 is talking about the office of the governor. 177 is talking about the prerequisite that you need to have to become a governor. Section 170 is talking about the election into the office of a governor. Now, where we have the EU is in the section 177 of the Nigerian 1999 Constitution. Now, Obaseki tried to say that it's high time for us now to produce a governor from Edo Central. Now, don't forget that this EU of zoning have become EU in Nigeria. Do we have zoning in the Constitution, or don't you have zoning? People have argued that there's nothing like zoning in the Constitution. We tend to say that this particular senatorial district has produced a governor, let's move to another senatorial district. But when you look at section 14, subsection 3 of the Nigerian 1999 Constitution as amended, that place is well explicit and unambiguous. It talks about the composition of the government at the federal level, that there must be equity, there must be justice, there must be transparency, and there must be what we call a political inclusion. That's what that place is saying. Now, when you look at the state level, the same section 14, subsection 4, talks about the composition of a state government. That when you are composing the state government or government at the state level, at least you carry all the local government along.
In this case, are you really sure is the issue of zoning, or maybe the issue of loyalty?
No. It is not the issue of loyalty, whether loyalty or no loyalty. And like I keep saying, section 1 of the Constitution is very clear. You can't place loyalty above the provision of the law. What the law says in section 1 is that the provision of the Constitution shall be the primary purpose of the government. Supreme. Section 1 of the Constitution is supreme. So you can't come and place loyalty above what the law is saying. Section 1 is very clear. So nobody can fault what we have under section 1. Although loyalty plays key roles in politics, whether you like it or not, I'm loyal to you, I'm not loyal to you, I'm not loyal to you. That is what Shuaibu tried to play, that I'm loyal to my governor. And don't forget the scenario that played out in 2020 in the build-up to a governorship election. Don't forget that Governor Obaseki won his first time in office under IPC in 2016. As a journalist, I went to Edo to cover that particular election. In 2020, it was a vow to go again when EU came up under Oshiomhole's faction and so on and so forth. And we were told that the person that was screened in 2016 to meet the criteria of the political party who was presented to INEC to be their candidate did not meet the screening requirement in 2020. That was what led to Obaseki's exit. In build up to 2020 Edo governorship election, he went to PDP, and at that particular time, there was issue between Shuaibu and Oshiomhole. Like I said, Shuaibu and Oshiomhole are from the same senatorial district, Edo North. In fact, at that particular time, people were talking about would Shuaibu followed Obaseki to PDP. At the end of the day, he followed Obaseki to PDP, and PDP waived that particular ticket for him and Obaseki to run under their ticket in 2020 governorship election. So we're talking about loyalty. It is true that loyalty plays key roles in politics, but we can't continue place loyalty above the provision of the law. And that's what I'm saying here, that in Edo since 1999, Edo Central has never produced a sitting governor. And that's what Obaseki is trying to do. That don't forget that Oshiomhole happens to be the former governor for this state. He was from Edo North. Shuaibu is from Edo North. Now Obaseki said that if Oshiomhole that happens to be the governor of Edo State for 8 years, hails from Edo North, you can't allow me to give you the ticket to go back to Edo North again. What happened to Edo Central? No. This is not Kogi. Don't forget that in Kogi State, nothing like zoning in Kogi State.
Sam. It's quite intriguing that in this time in our history, we still have issues about zoning, the concept of zoning coming to play in every election that happens in the country. Like you rightly said, you know, in your statement about political inclusiveness. I'm asking, in fact, political inclusiveness has brought about parallel candidates coming up in the primaries in Edo State right now. Where is the place of the citizen in all of this? Where's the place? Because all we talk about is power tussle. Power tussle. When I was coming, I could actually hear people talk about this parallel situation happening in the primaries. The question I'm asking, where is the place of the citizen those people are supposed to, you know, provide for or serve, number one, and what is are the implication of parallel candidates coming up in election, especially as regards to the primaries just held now in Edo State?
Now, number one, when you look at the roles of citizen, the roles of citizen is very clear under our law, especially under the Electoral Act. At this stage, you know, in the build-up to election, we have two stages. First stage, the primary, all political parties that want to participate in that particular election, as provided by Electoral Act, we need to conduct primaries, present the candidate to INEC. The candidate, their names will be published on INEC website, and at the end of at that particular stage, the electorate doesn't have a role to play. It is a core role of the political party to play. Don't forget, in the constitution, the law says that the political party shall present a candidate. Now, when you look at the Electoral Act, says that in providing or in presenting your candidate, you have 3 modes. Either you go through direct primaries, indirect primaries, or consensus. At that are the 3 stages, whether direct, indirect, or consensus. The electorate, they have a few roles to play at that particular time. In fact, it's a core activities of the political parties. Members of the political party, they are the ones that will play the role who to present to INEC to be their flag bearer in that particular election. The key role of the electorate is when they go out to vote who will become their next governor on the election day. And that's why we are saying that it is high time for us now to regulate the activities of the political parties in Nigeria. Now, as you see today, under section 177 of the constitution, in fact, when you look at number 1, it talks about we are vying for the office of the governor. You must be a citizen of Nigeria by birth. Second one is talking about the age limit, that's 35 years of age. The third one is the problem we're having in this country. And the third one is saying that you must run under a political party. And that party will be the one to fund your campaign, to present you to INEC. That's where the problem lies today. So when you're talking about the roles of citizens in determining who becomes the leader, and that is the second stage, when the political party, when they've presented who will flag their flags in that particular election, it is then the citizen will have the power to go to choose who will become their governor. But the key aspect is that the year of primaries, because the primaries will be the one to produce the candidate for each political party to run at that particular election, and that's where the problem lies. And that's why you see today that in most cases you see some political party, they adopt direct primary, some will adopt indirect primary. In the case of direct primaries, that's why they give the opportunity to their party members, core party members, to go out and exercise their franchise in picking who will be the flag bearer of that political party. And the question people normally ask is that how many political parties in Nigeria today can come out with authentic party register in such a way that in your political party you can give us an accurate figure that these are the number of people we have in our political party, and at the end of the day, by the time people go out and exercise their franchise, it will tally with that particular number of people. So the problem is not really from them, because electorates don't have even chance to determine who becomes the flag bearer of the party. These are the party members. These are the big whips of the party. Now look at what played out in Edo State recently under IPC. They had 2 primaries, don't forget. First primary produced Senator Idahosa. And at the end of the day, we got to know that this working committee of the party trying to come out with another EU, and the committee led by the governor of Imo State, Opusodima, was pushed aside, and they were accused for not conducting a primary that's highly transparent. So they conducted another primaries in Edo State under APC. So that is where the problem lies. The problem is still within the political party in Nigeria today, and that's where the issue of godfatherism plays out in our party today. You know, some people will see somewhere. I think the judge of the primaries election, the former governor of the state, happened to be the Senate senator, was accused trying to play some aki-panky and to determine who wins the party ticket under the APC. So the problem lies with our political party. How do they pick their candidate? How do they come out and present a candidate to Nigerians or to the electorate before the election? So that is where the problem lies. And in as much that we are yet to have what we call an independence candidacy in Nigeria, you know, people have pushed for this in our constitution, that can we get this in? When we have this issue of that, if you want to run for an election, you must come out under a political party. Can we jettison that? Can we have what we call an independence candidacy? That one is yet to be injected in our constitution and the electoral act. So, in as much, political party will still be the one with the responsibility to produce who becomes their flag bearer in the election. All these shenanigans will still be playing out in our politics in Nigeria today.
What do you think will be the effect of these parallel candidates coming up? Because for one, nobody saw for Labour Party,
exactly,
Akpata having 2 extra parallel candidates jostling for the same position that he has. And of course we have PDP, Philip Shaibu dragging with Igodalo. What do you think will be the long effect or the future effect of this parallel candidates coming up in the primaries right now in this towards the governorship election in Edo State?
In election litigation, there's what we call pre-election matters, all those intrigues that played out before election, and there's what we call post-election litigation. Now, what we've seen now in Edo State happens to be pre-election matter, and I said in my introduction that thank God Supreme Court gave their verdict. Anything that has to do with pre-election matter, don't come here with us. And the question we should be asking, I don't see much from the PDP in Edo State, because when you look at in Edo PDP, I think INEC observed that of Igudalo primaries. I don't think INEC went to that of Philip Shuaibu. And the electoral act is very clear that when you are conducting your primary, the one that INEC observed will be the one that will be highly recognized by INEC. Before, after the primary, I listened to Philip Shuaibu trying to say that if PDP did not feed in to become their candidate in the election, that PDP will lose that particular election. Now, the question we should be asking is that, did INEC monitor that of primary that produced Philip Shuaibu? If yes, did INEC monitor the one that produced Igudalo? If the answer is yes, then it's so that they need to move to court, then to balance the issue come from the court. But if INEC did not monitor that of primary that produced Philip Shuaibu, automatically, because the electoral act is very clear, automatically Philip Shuaibu is going nowhere. So Igudalo will be the one highly recognized by INEC, because at the end of the day, the party will need to present each candidate from the political party now down to INEC, that at the end of our primaries produce this particular candidate and we are submitting the name. But Philip can go to court to challenge it in court, and that's where the problem lies. And I keep saying it, you know, Ezekiel, I was here and I told you that in the history of post-election litigation in Nigeria, that of 2023 happens to be the highest number of post-election litigation we have in this country, and quite unprecedented, and it is not built in our democracy the way we should see it. So if Philip Shuaibu want to do it now, he can go to court. If he had the fact, he can go to court and challenge the primary that produced Igudalo under the fashion of Godwin Obaseki. But if INEC did not monitor that of Shuaibu that produced Shuaibu is going nowhere, because you can't because the electoral act is there. You can't fault what we have in the electoral act, because for INEC to recognize your candidate, INEC must present during the primary and they must oversee what happened at that particular primary before INEC can recognize your candidate. So the one is playing out in the Edo State. I don't see, especially in PDP, I don't see much from that as far as Shuaibu and Obaseki are playing that political way. But the issue of Labour Party, that produce
just before we go into the issue of Labour Party, let's still on PDP. You know, we know for the fact PDP still have ongoing challenges, you know, on the national level.
Exactly.
And somehow many believe that situation actually led to the failure of Dino Malai, you know, when it comes to his election in Kogi State. Many still believe that issue actually gave him that fatal blow. Now, when it comes to Edo State,
but do you really want this election in Bayelsa State?
we are not Bayelsa right now. Now in Edo State, now on the state level, we still have here and there, you know, going on. Now, with the issue of the national level and then the state level, do you see PDP really making a wave, you know, something different from what Dino Malai and Kogis actually did, you know, or are we going straight into that, just, you know, into failure again?
Ezekiel, don't forget that the EU of Dino Malai happens to be the EU of party EU. Don't forget that Dino Malai happens to be, let me say, a political boy to Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president of the Republic of Nigeria. In fact, when you look at his candidature, when it was presented that he will be the governorship candidate of PDP in Kogi State, many of the PDP governors did not even attend his campaign rallies. I watched the campaign rally when he kicked off, and the last campaign, many of the governors, it's only the governor of Osun State, Adeleke, who happens to be the DG of his campaign, that was present at that particular campaign. So that issue of political tussle in PDP played out in what we saw in Kogi governorship election that made Dino Malai to claim third in that particular election. Now, coming to Edo State, don't forget that the ruling party in Edo State is PDP. You understand now? Majority of the governors in PDP are with Obaseki. That is the truth of the matter. We can't shy away from that. Even though we have some governors that are loyal to Wiki, who is now the present minister of FCC now, but majority of the governors now, they are still with Obaseki. Because in fact, recently, during the burial of our former governor, you know, Dr. Akeredolu in Nowo, I saw Obaseki in Nowo, I saw some PDP governors in Nowo, exchanging pleasantry. So we may not totally see what we saw in Kogi in Edo State. You understand? Because Edo, when you have some governors that are very loyal to you, working with you, like I made mention, how many governors supported Dino Malai becoming the governor of Kogi State? Only few, and the few is in fact minimal. So in Edo State, like I said, PDP is in the power in Edo State, and we have some governors. In fact, when you look at PDP in Edo State, I think the crisis is only limited between Obaseki and his deputy. We don't see the entire PDP structure in Edo State being divided into two. So the crisis in Edo State PDP is still between the governor and the deputy governor. And I think I've highlighted the genesis of the crisis when Obaseki tried to show interest that he want to succeed his boss. In Edo State again, seeing the history of Edo State, trace it down to Abros Ali, no deputy governor has ever become a governor in Edo State. No deputy governor. They've tried it. They've never become a governor in Edo. So we were thinking that maybe Shuaibu will try to change the narratives. But at the conclusion of the primaries, we discovered that Shuaibu did not belong to the faction of Obaseki. And Obaseki fashion now, they produce their own candidate. Happens to be Ighodalo.
It's a good thing you said faction at this point, because you said it wasn't an issue of loyalty. You said it's an issue of zoning, but rather than using the word faction. So it's obvious.
Which hinges on loyalty at the end of the day.
On the issue of loyalty, I've listened to Shuaibu on many TV stations coming out to say that his loyalty to his boss is 100%.
He hasn't said that.
So we can't be talking about loyalty. What Obaseki is fighting for is the issue of zoning arrangement. And like I made mention, that you can't come from Edo North that you want to get the ticket when the former governor, my own boss, I'm talking about Obaseki now, referring to his boss, that is Ushomane, who happens to be from Edo North. What will happen to Edo Central? Like I made mention, this is not Kogi, it's only Kogi that a particular central system have never produced.
Well, let's just be certain, or hopefully it won't be a father-son situation, maybe like in Kogi State, you know, where we'll have, because I really want us to really go away from the issue of godfatherism, you know, this is my son in office, this is my father in office, and all that. I really hope we get past that situation.
It will be very tough to go out of godfatherism. Let me give you a clear example. In 1999, when Obasanjo was coming, we knew some people that came out to bring Obasanjo come up here as president. In 2007, Obasanjo single-handedly gave us Yaradua. Don't forget that scenario that played out when Yaradua was campaigning, the presidential campaign. In fact, in Lagos, Yaradua wasn't around. It was Obasanjo that stood for him in Lagos State. So it was Obasanjo that brought Yaradua to office in 2007. In 2011, when Jonathan was coming, we had some people that rallied around Jonathan to become the president. In 2015, don't forget the Miloko that played out in 2023 when someone was in Abeokuta saying that I was one that told him to come and run again. Now, this issue of godfatherism will be there in our politics unless we do away, like I said,
how do we do away? Unless we do that? When people hold on to power so tightly with their fist, their leg, how do we do away with godfatherism in the system? It has eaten deep into the electoral system.
Exactly.
As a country, how do you do that? Who will let go?
The issue of godfatherism is not limited to Nigerian politics. I could remember when Biden was coming to become the president, when he was running against Donald Trump, the former president of US, Barack Obama, threw the way behind Biden. That's godfatherism. Going around campaigning for Biden should be the next president of US. So godfatherism will take a lot of time to go out of our politics, in as much we don't have what we call an independence candidacy in our constitution. Because today, the law says that if I want to run for any office, I must run under a political party. And that party must sponsor me. So when you are running under a political party, we have some people in that political party who are the big wheels of that political party, who dictate whether you like it or not. When they say that you go to this particular side, if you don't go, they have the wherewithal to put you aside. And that's only what we are saying. They just say so until, and that's why people are clamoring that we need to throw this current constitution away and have another constitution, because the problem we are having in Nigeria is in our constitution. So until we have what we call an independent candidacy in Nigeria in such a way that when you want to vie for any office, you don't need to go and beg any godfather, you don't need to go and beg anybody in any political party. Yes. Then you go out independently, you run for an office. In as much we say that in our constitution, godfatherism will continue to play their roles in our politics.
Away from PDP and godfatherism, just for a moment, let's talk about, I know we are almost out of time. Let's talk about the issue of the ex-NBA president, the Labour Party, and the controversy. Personally, I do think, a party as Labour Party, trying to really find their footings in politics in Nigeria would actually give room for controversies and challenges as this, I mean, not situations as this, maybe something better, something bigger.
Ezekiel, Olorunfemi is from Edo South, where we have the incumbent governor. And the question is, peradventure at the end of the day, they resolve the EU and the ticket given to Olumide to contest the election. Will people allow someone from Edo South, where we have the outgoing governor, to become the next governor? I'm not here. You made mention that I do predict, and I can tell you the political party that will win the next governorship election in Edo State without leaving this seat now.
Political party and not the candidate. It's very funny at this point.
No, it is the party. It's not the candidate. Is it the party? Because when you go and vote on the election day, you don't see the face of that particular candidate on the ballot paper. You see the party at the ballot paper. So it's the political party we are voting for, not the candidates. So that's how our election is being structured in Nigeria. You don't vote for candidates, you vote for a political party. And that's why you see that all these candidates, when they go out to campaign, they tell you that you vote for our political party. They can't tell you that you should vote for them, because they know that the mandate they are holding doesn't belong to them. The mandate will belong to the political party. Because when INEC will write, INEC will not write to a candidate. INEC will write to a political party. Political party, this is time for you to conduct your primaries, and after the conduction of your primary, send your list to us. So it is the issue of party, not the issue of candidate. So on the issue of Olumide, don't forget that when he won the election as the NBA president, there was issue within the Nigerian pacification. In fact, we had 2 elections under Olumide that produced, he ran with a senior advocate of Nigeria, that particular election. At the end of the day, Olumide was declared winner of that particular election. But I was expecting that at least Labour Party will give us something different that will show that we've seen a political party in Nigeria that are moving away from what we've used to in Nigeria.
And you think the candidate was not something different?
No, they put 3 candidates in their party. 3 candidates, Olumide and 2 others. So also they had what we call a primaries in their political party. And don't forget, the reason why tussle is very hard in Labour Party. For the first time in the history of Edo State, Peter Obi won presidential election in Edo State. PDP, when it comes to presidential election, PDP, Edo State have been a conservative state. PDP has been clearing Edo government presidential election since 1999. In fact, when Oshiomhole was at the governor, PDP won that particular state under Oshomole. So I think winning the last election under Labour Party, under Obi, so they have this ability that can we just throw our hat into the ring? Can we come? Maybe what played out during presidential election, we play out again during governorship election. But Ezekiel, the answer is presidential election is quite different from the governorship election. Obi won governorship presidential election in Lagos State. That was what gave Roosevelt that particular political power to come out that he will defeat Sanwo-Olu in the election. What did we see? We saw Sanwo-Olu retaining the seat in Lagos State. Even in Imo State. In Imo State, Obi won Imo State in that election. What did we see during the governorship election last year? Opus Odimo retained that particular state. So I think it's good for Labour making that move because we want to move from two-party system in Nigeria. Since 1999, it has been a two-party system. PDP, AD, from AD to AC, from AC to ACN, from ACN to APC. So it has been a two-party system in Nigeria. But when you look at the just concluded presidential election, like I said, it was the same election that we had in 1979. Shagari, Azikiwe and Awolowo. It's the same thing in 1983. Shagari, Azikiwe, Awolowo. The same thing repeated itself in 2023. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar, and Peter Obi. Even though we had a team presidential candidate, but when you look at that particular election, just like we centered our focus on three candidates in that particular election, one from Yoruba land, one from Igbo land, and one from outside. So it is good that we are moving towards that, and we are living that trajectory since 1999 in such a way that when you want to run for any office, is that you go to this political party or this political party. In fact, when you look at the current 10th National Assembly now, since 1999, this happens to be the assembly that we have more than two political party system. In that, we have PDP in the 10th Assembly, we have APC, we have Labour, we have SDP, we have about 7 or 8 political parties right at the 10th National Assembly. So it's good that Labour Party in Edo State, they are trying to throw their heart into the ring, but they must resolve their crisis. Because you can't go into an election with a parallel primaries. It is very dangerous to your political party because this kind of challenges the court. You play that in Zamfara. Don't forget in 2019 in Zamfara State, APC won that state. But because of the EU party crisis, and at the end of the day, Supreme Court just asked them to leave. And that was how Matawali, the former governor of Zamfara State, now the sitting minister of state for defense, happens to be the governor of Zamfara State. In fact, in 2019, APC did not present a candidate in Rivers State in 2019. That was what gave Wike an easy run coming back in 2019 because of the internal party crisis. So if Labour Party and APC or PDP did not resolve their crisis, is capable of making them to have problem in this coming election in Edo State. So they must resolve the issue, and I'm happy because, like I said, Subuga has told them don't come to court with any pre-election matter because the one we have on our shoulder, we are here to solve everything, and we are looking at it with that. Can we conduct election in Nigeria in such a way that there won't be any post-election litigation in this country? Can we have it like when we had it in 1999 and 2015? But just in fact, again, when you look at 2023 general election, about 98% of the governorship election was challenged in court. So we need to be moving in such a way that after conducting the election, there won't be like anything like post-election litigation in Nigeria. So Edo State is coming, and it's going to be an interesting game ahead in Edo State. They have to start the campaign. When they start the campaign, you will see a lot of things in Edo State. But if you want me to make my prediction, I will tell you the political party that win the election in Edo State.
Now, before you make your prediction, don't give me hard palpitation. Before you make your prediction, now what started initially as almost 30 candidates as watered down after the primaries to what we thought would be just a few. Now we have 3 from the APC, the PDP, and of course the Labour Party. Then of course we woke up in the morning, we had parallel primaries being held, and now there's so much confusion in that state, as it were. We've talked about the Labour Party, we've talked about the PDP, but I've not heard you really talk about the PDP candidate, as it were. I would want your take on the present candidate that was chosen after the primaries. That's the APC, rather, the APC candidate. APC. Your take on the gentleman.
Well, I think he's a city senator from Edo Central. Now, if I'm right now, the candidate of APC. But initially, we were told that Idausa won that particular election. In fact, he had released a press statement congratulating himself, leadership of the party. At the end of the day, woke up that no, that particular primary that produced him need to be set aside for a fresh election to be conducted. Now they have fresh election now in Edo State, and the candidate is there now. When you look at that particular candidate, I think I listened to him on one of the national TV stations, trying to talk that people doesn't know him much, blah blah blah, that can he stand the test of time to win an election. But something interesting, that when you are going into an election, that the incumbent is not running for office again. We know that Obaseki will not be running for this particular election now. So it's going to be an open ground for all the political parties that are going to take part in this particular election. So we can't wish out national play we're going to play out in this election, state play we're going to play out in this particular time. What do I mean by national play is that the party at the central, we try. Don't forget that in 2020, the APC lost Edo State by the defection of Obaseki from APC to Binitie. In fact, in this election, people were talking about Pastor Ezekiel that would be the one to get the party's ticket. You know, already bought the form, screening. Few hours, we were told that he stepped down, and he released a statement that truly he has stepped down for that part. So people were, in fact, initially people were projecting him that would be the one that APC will give the ticket to. In 2016, he ran under PDP, he lost to Obaseki. In 2020, he came back again, ran under APC, he lost to Obaseki. So when you look at the APC candidate in the Edo government election, to me, you see, it is very difficult for you to say whether a particular candidate has the wherewithal now to become a governor of a state or not, because we know that in becoming a governor in Nigeria or in becoming an effective leader in Nigerian politics has nothing to do with your academic background or has nothing to do with where you are coming from. But I hope that by the time we start the electionary campaign in those states, but by the time we start listening to our manifesto, we will truly understand who the man is, his capability, his political antecedent, his political exposure, whether he's capable to govern Edo State or not. But to me, we have no option. Like I used to say, we have no option. The candidate presented by a political party, they are the candidate that electorate will vote for, because you can't vote outside a candidate presented by a political party. So that's where the problem lies. If APC should produce a 10-year-old boy, that is the candidate that they will feed in the election and they will sell him out. So it is not left for APC now to sell the candidate to the good people of Edo State, why they believe that he is the best man for the job after the 8 years of Obaseki in office as a governor of Edo. So all the political parties now, they have the power now and they have the open floor now to sell their candidate to the good people of Edo State, why they believe that their candidate is the best to take over from where Obaseki will be dropping the baton later this year. So to me, the man, let's see what he has for the good people of Edo State. Let's see what we have for the good people of Edo State, whether truly he understands the political tenacity of Edo State to run an effective and inclusive government in Edo State.
So Ezekiel, do we ask the octopus to make the prediction?
Yes, I think I'm looking forward to that.
Do we ask the octopus to make the predictions?
Go ahead, sir. Our major prophet.
Thank you, Ezekiel. One, let me say that it's going to be 2-horse race in Edo State.
Okay.
2-horse race.
Yes. Because of the predictions, there's going to be a 3-horse race.
It's going to be 2-horse race in Edo State.
This
between
is a
the
different
PDP
one.
and APC.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I'm making the prediction here.
Yeah.
I'm making it PDP will retain Edo State.
As the political prophet, he has spoken. All right. Okay. I guess we'll have to look forward to that. So hopefully you won't fail us this time, because he has never failed before.
So we want to thank our guests for being our visitor today on Daybreak Africa. Sam, we want to thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And there's this thing we do on the show. I think we'll do it again. Your final say, as it were. Fine of giving us the prediction, but what do you have to say to people in Edo State in particular, and of course tomorrow or in the nearest future towards elections in Nigeria? Your final word for the Nigerian citizen who is anticipating change.
I think my final word will be, because our election is being monetized in every election cycle. Don't forget that we started from the year of election rigging, when Anire tried to bring a change in it. Some people tried to put aside that rigging and they came up with your vote buy. So I think my final word to the good people of Edo State that will be deciding very soon, later this year, will be their next governor. I think one, you shun electoral violence. Electoral violence doesn't pay. Then secondly, this issue of buying of vote, don't forget, is a criminal offense in our electoral act. So don't go with candidates with there's what we call an highest bidder in Nigerian politics. You know, is how big your pocket is will determine how your vote will be. So my group of Edo State shun electoral violence. Don't go with money back cities. Listen to their manifesto. Take time to listen to their manifesto and don't go with the euphoria of their campaign. There's no candidate that will come and campaign that will not bring a lot of people to your to your own government. So don't go with that euphoria now. Listen to their manifestos. You know what you need in Edo State in terms of infrastructure, in terms of health, in terms of education, in terms of unemployment, in terms of attractive foreign and local investors to your state. So you know what you need in Edo State. Look at the candidates that have a very clear agenda for you. Look at the candidates that have a very strong manifesto for you people in Edo State. Our teaming youth in Edo State, unemployment is on the high trajectory now. So look at the candidate that has a brilliant plans to reduce high rate of unemployment in Edo State. You know the state of your primary healthcare system in Edo State. No, look at the candidate that will come with agenda that will revive primary healthcare center in Edo State. You know that in Edo State you have what we call a dilapidated educational structure in Edo State. Look at the candidate with brilliant manifesto that will come and revive all the dilapidated educational system structure in Edo State. Look at the number of roads you have in Edo State. How many of them are motorable? Look at the rural areas. How many roads are motorable in rural areas? Look at the candidate with brilliant agenda that will have a good road network in Edo State. How many companies do you have in Edo State? How many foreign investors do you have in Edo State? Edo State alone can generate their own power. So look at the candidates that will be moving towards generating their internal power in Edo State. So don't go with the political party, go with the candidate, do your diligence, do your research, know their political antecedents, know where they're coming from, know their contribution to their society before coming to govern you in Edo State. So don't go with the antics and antics or political campaign.
Yes.
They will come with sweet mouth, they will come with brilliant manifesto. Sit down, do your research and vote why. The next governor of Edo State will determine your future in Edo State.
Like you've rightly heard, our guests say, listen to the manifesto so you can have that future that you desire as a people in Edo State. So that is our discussion today on Daybreak Africa, right here from the Sunshine State of Ondo. I am Anire Binitie as we sign off.
Do have a wonderful day ahead. I remain Ezekiel Ogar.
Bye.